Greetings, Battle Brothers. It's me, Aurelia Temp, Defender of the Golden Throne and Servant of Humanity. We are coming with another day stream, which should be fun. Although we already have a lot of we've already seen a lot of spoilers, so we'll see if there's anything new that will be surprising. Who knows? Who knows? Fingers crossed for new Sister of Silence models. Maybe, that would be nice. That'd be kind of cool. I guess it is Horus Heresy, so you could get some minis like that. I guess my first thought, I'm thinking about ISTVAAN. So, I mean, obviously we're gonna see the stuff from the salamanders. We're gonna get some of that, which looked cool from the spoilers that I saw, but let's see how many things aren't spoiled or haven't been spoiled already. Yes. Look, shoulder pads make or break your armor design. The bigger your shoulder pads, the more macho you are. Can confirm. That's why I only have little shoulder pads. Yeah, my impression, or at least my opinion, is that it was just gonna be Space Marines today. I would like new Sisters of Silence because my current ones I hate building. They're really tiny. I don't like them very much. I apologize if you guys hear me munching and crunching. This is my lunch. This is my lunch. So I'm having Taco Bell. Only the best food. Only the best food for this custodian. But I hope everyone is well. I kind of want them to expand on the gun platforms like the one in the box. That would be nice. Shoulder pads are assigned a status in 30-40k, just like the size of a hat in Warhammer Fantasy. I mean, you're right. You're right. You're right. So what I'm hearing is my next model, I should just be like 2 shoulder pads. That's it. As a symbol of my status. I'm interested to see if they will have any rule changes. Well, really, like, how big the rule changes are going to be. I've never played Horus Heresy. I've just played 40k. So I am curious. Did you take Kyra to eat the burritos or tacos that you were talking about the other night? No, we didn't do that. It was late by the time we finished up our stream, so we decided not to do that. But I do have a plan for that. I want her to eat at least one bite of the burrito on the stream. Someone did make a Saturnine Custodes concept. It looked cool. Oh, I want to see that. I want to see that. I didn't see this. That was great. Every time I see Saturnine, I was thinking about stuff, and I'm like, every time I hear Saturnine, I think of the book that I'm reading right now, which is in the Horus Heresy about the Saturnine wall. Not the same. Not the same. Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for being subscribed for
nearly 40 years, the Horus Heresy has underpinned the lore of the Warhammer 40,000 setting. A once mysterious reference has grown and evolved to become one of the best-loved aspects of the entire Warhammer hobby, spawning multiple games, a best-selling series of novels, and of course, many hundreds of glorious Warhammer miniatures.
Yeah.
And here's how it all began. 1987. The Horus Heresy appears as a snippet of text, squirreled away in the Book of the Astronomicon, a supplement for Rogue Trader. 1988. The tabletop battle game Adeptus Titanicus, featuring epic battles between Titan legions, is released. The game is set within the Horus Heresy. In the following year, Space Marine, another epic-scale game, emerges, putting the warriors of the Legiones Astartes on the battlefield in massive numbers. 2003, the Horus Heresy collectible card game debuts. It features many hundreds of illustrations of the Horus Heresy on the game cards, and also details the events of the heresy through lore included within the packs. 2006, Black Library embarks on the ambitious plan to tell the events of the Horus Heresy in fiction. This best-selling series goes on to include 54 volumes from many of the greatest writers ever to handle Warhammer fiction.
Yeah, they're
2012,
really good books.
Forge World unleashes the Horus Heresy Age of Darkness, along with an accompanying range of incredible new miniatures depicting the heroes, warriors, and war machines of the heresy.
Oh, wow.
2015, the Betrayal at Calth board game, including the first new plastic models for the Horus Heresy in a generation. 2018, the setting returns to its roots as the Warhammer Studio unveils a new edition of Adeptus Titanicus. 2019, the galaxy-spanning story told through the Horus Heresy novels reaches its peak, culminating in the Siege of Terror series.
I'm reading that book right
2022, a new edition of the Horus Heresy game is released, Warhammer, the Horus Heresy Age of Darkness. Boasting incredible new plastic kits and refreshed rules, this edition reaches more fans than ever before.
Oh, man, I love
2023,
the
Legions Imperialis bursts onto the scene, allowing battles between the Legiones Astartes, the Titan Legions, and more, with small-scaled miniatures on truly incredible modular battlefields. And that brings us to today, the 23rd of May, 2025. Welcome to this Warhammer preview and the celebration of the Horus Heresy.
Well done, Jonathan Keeble, my favorite Warhammer actor.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this very special Warhammer preview. My name is Adam Troke. I'm joined by my colleague and friend Eddie Eccles.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I'm very excited to talk about Horus Heresy.
Absolutely. Welcome, everybody, to the Warhammer, the Horus Heresy Dropsite Preview. We're here for about an hour or so to give you the lowdown on a load of amazing new Horus Heresy reveals. Before we do, I should introduce the third member of our broadcast team. Let's throw the camera over to the Lawmaster Alex Doddy in Question Corner.
Guy in the corner.
Oh yeah. So because we're live today, we are going to be taking questions. However, there are many thousands of you in the chat. So if you put questions all in caps at the start, I've got a better chance of catching.
There's almost 3,000 people.
Brilliant.
I wouldn't say many.
So the way this is going to work is we have absolutely loads of great Horus Heresy stuff to show you.
Picky.
We've got some videos, we've got some pictures of some new miniatures. We might have a little bit of a discussion about rules, loads of really good Heresy stuff. So stay tuned.
Full
There's loads
disclosure,
of stuff.
I won't know anything about rule changes.
If you're a fan of Horus Heresy already, you're in for a treat. If you are new to the Horus Heresy and are Horus Heresy curious, you are very welcome, and we hope you find an amazing new setting
no Bane Blades
to
yet.
enjoy.
Now, we can see the chat is busily filling up, so while everybody files in and gets their space ready for the Dropsite preview, it's always worth just doing a couple of questions out there. And my first question, I always like to ask this when we're doing a preview, is where in the world are you tuning in from? If you could let us know in the chat, it's always good to get a sense of where the Warhammer community is piling in from.
I'm so
we'll get,
sorry.
Alex to give us the lowdown on where you're from. It's always nice to know.
And just while you're introducing yourselves in the chat,
Adam,
have you got any Horus Heresy hobby on your table at the moment?
So this is the golden question, right? So I have a Horus Heresy army. I do First Legion Dark Angels, as I do for more or less everything. And I've got about 2,000 points of them. But I'm having a bit of an existential crisis because I want to try something new. You will see I'm repping Iron Warriors colours today because I think I fancy trying some Iron Warriors. But the jury is out.
I think he more than fancies. Look at the stripe on his computer. Although we know that's to cover the logo.
In the chat, shout it out. We'll maybe hear some suggestions. To the show.
Do you think Adam should choose Iron Warriors, or if you think there's another Legion would be better suited for him, by all means, pipe up in the chat. I myself have got some white scars on the hobby table at the moment. Fantastic. I've never painted a white army before, so I'm quite looking forward to it.
You often paint black, don't you?
Yeah, I always end up kind of gravitating towards the guys in black armour because they've got, there's some pretty cool choices out there.
First Legion.
But I thought I'd try white scars because I like the colour scheme. I think is very cool, and I like the idea of lots of guys on jet bikes flying around.
Perfect. Well, you've had a few minutes. Let's go over to Alex and find out where everybody's calling in from.
From every corner of the world,
United
America,
States.
Brazil, Switzerland, Sweden, Australia, a couple of people from Nottingham, plenty of people from over in the Dallas Open.
I should have said that. Oh my god.
All over. They seem to think that you should probably
chat?
stick with Dark Angels.
Stick with the Dark Angels. That's so
We'll see how you feel at the end of the preview, shall we? If anything that we show maybe sways you towards a certain allegiance or otherwise.
I like it. I do
White Scars
fancy
is a good
change
choice.
of painting technique, though. We shall see. Yeah, thanks. And it's really great to have you wherever you're from. We love it when the Warhammer community feels truly global. So this is a special time for us.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess what we should do is, Eddie's already said how the run of this thing's going to go. Over the next hour or so, we're going to preview all sorts of great Horus Heresy content.
Told us how much.
There'll be some reveals of things that you've never seen before. And it should be a very exciting time for everybody. But what better way to kick off a preview like this than with a brand new animated cinematic trailer?
Gotta keep watching the audio. They do not balance it very well.
I was there when he painted this.
Oh, I remember this one.
An oddity among his schematics and calculations. Yet, this seemed to help him. A way he could express the enormity of his plan. Not if the legions are successful.
I do like the anime.
It depends on how deep the rot goes.
I love me my Custodes. Do I know that guy? Maybe. Maybe. Go at it with a gun that shoots fire, a salamander.
The attack failed.
How many?
Oh.
Half of the legions now stand with Horus.
You're surprised?
In the end, I suppose not. Do you wonder if they might be right? Many will sympathize with their rebellion.
I am the Emperor's spear. What I think doesn't matter.
What now, then?
We make ready.
Look at his
For a
pores.
war that may never end.
Funny. I never imagined him looking... Feels weird. He almost looks beautiful, and I don't feel like that
What
should be
an
the
incredible
case.
way to kickstart the announcement of a new edition of Warhammer Horus Heresy. Eddie, what can you tell us about the trailer?
He should be
Absolutely.
quite
So that was the
ugly 'cause of,
brand
like,
new
battles and stuff, even
Horus
if
Heresy
he never gets
cinematic trailer
scratched.
announcing the new edition of Warhammer the Horus Heresy and the new box set which is on its way, which is Saturnine. Very cool. And before we talk too much about this box set, let's just take a moment to have a chat about what we just saw in that cinematic trailer. Lots of very cool stuff there, from the Palace of Terror to the Black Sands of
I do
ISTVAAN.
enjoy
We saw some
their
new units we've
animations.
never seen in action before, some new characters, some new places we've never been before. Adam, did you have a favourite?
Oh.
Yeah, I do. And it might be a surprise or not, depending on how you felt about the trailer. But for me, it's the Iron Warrior Centurion. He's the star of the show, as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely owning his ground. Brilliant ambush against the Salamanders, and then charging off to take on the.
I read the
Saturnine
Valdor
Dreadnought.
book too. It was
Amazing.
very good.
Loved
I
it.
liked it.
I think for me, seeing Terror was very cool.
Yeah.
So we've never been there before. We've never kind of had any glimpses of it outside of the excellent fiction from Black Library, of course. But a chance to see the Imperial Palace.
The scale of it.
Yeah.
Like when you have that shot over Malcador's shoulder, and you can see in the distance there's like a little ship flying along, and you realise that's like half a kilometre long in its own right. Just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool. And I think definitely a trailer to pick over in detail. So
no, I'm not talking about Malkador. I'm talking about Valdor
very soon. So if you want to rewatch
Valdor looks like too perfect.
Detail, you absolutely
when I imagined him more
rugged. The trailer is only, of course, the herald of greater things, which is the brand new edition of Warhammer.
Malkador is almost the definition of perfection.
Very exciting.
Obviously, never seen before.
Yeah, you'll have never seen this anywhere ever. Any rumours would have just been hearsay, I imagine.
Should we
do the honours. Do the honours.
That's how they're gonna put that. Just say it got leaked and people suck.
And you can see it is absolutely packed to the brim with plastics. There is loads of new cool stuff in there.
There are a few things that will just cover off the bat, right? It has a range ruler that will probably come as a surprise to nobody.
It will
have, if you are a fan of the Horus Heresy game, you will already be familiar with these. But it has blast markers and my favourite, the flamer template. Great for dealing with the enemy.
Enjoy that.
Anybody who likes setting fire to the enemy.
Dive in, right? So the first new plastics. This is a Mark II Crusade armor.
Good night.
There are 4 of these frames in the box, and each one of these boxes makes you 10 Crusade armor Space Marines.
Wow.
As you can tell, they are gloriously multi-parts with loads of different options available. You can build them in a variety of different ways. The ones on the screen right now are made up as tactical legionaries. So these are the guys you have kicking around in big squads, firing lots of bolter shots. And these are kind of the line troopers, Crusade armor, named, of course, after its performance in the Great Crusade.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is an iconic silhouette for any Space Marine Legion force. As you said, there are 40 tactical legionaries in this box, and you can build them in different ways. In a moment, we'll shift you over, and you'll be able to see some of the other options that come. There you go. So one of the things that this set contains is obviously all the command options you need for your Vexilla and your.
He's got a Steve. Oh my gosh,
yeah,
I want
and
that.
Vox. So
I want
everything you need to
Vox.
make full squads, and quite
at that. He's
excitingly,
got a
they also
Steve.
contain some special weapons.
Steve is my servo
I have
skull,
a frame
by the way.
here if you want to have a look at it.
So
or
every
maybe
servo
we'll put them
skull
up
is
on
called
the
Steve.
screen.
It's canon.
So these are legionary veterans with disintegrator weapons. So if you've not seen disintegrator weapons before, these might be familiar if you're old enough to remember a model that was released around the time of Rogue Trader. I think it was LE02.
I was not.
And there's been a
don't
redo. Here you
think.
go. You can see the frame in my hand. So the set contains frames of these, so you can equip, I think it's up to 20 of the models.
Yeah.
Dude, totally
as
turn them into
full
Death Guard.
squads
Those
of
helms
legionary
are like
veterans armed with
perfect for Death
disintegrators.
Guard, in
You
my
get,
opinion.
Effectively, these smaller guns here are disintegrator rifles, and you've got enough of those to have 20 legionaries with disintegrator rifles. But you can also upgrade some models in the squad to have heavier versions of them. And you've also got things like combi disintegrators in the mix as well, and all sorts of
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're wondering, they are extremely dangerous weapons. There's some risk and reward to how you use them, but fantastic for some serious punch for your legionary warriors.
I've always liked the way these helmets look. Just this armor style is so classic. I love it.
Across the wider Space Marine range. So if for some reason you really didn't like Crusade armor, although that's crazy because everyone loves Crusade armor, you could also put those disintegrator weapons on Iron Armor troops or Mark
I'm so
6
sorry,
or
it's hard
any
to
of the
hear
other
him
kits you've got.
because his mic
One of the
went
really
out.
nice things about the Horus
And the
Heresy
other guy is
range
just
of
so
Space Marines
loud.
is that it is so compatible across all the different kits.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're showing them for the most part in the colours of the Iron Warriors and the Salamanders legions. But you can paint this, the concepts of this entire box set however you like. You can see here some
those
just
two are
beautiful
gross. Nope.
examples
Sorry,
the
no.
studio painting team have done of other colour schemes.
Nope.
Some legions in particular.
Nope.
So the White Scars, for example, were
Incorrect.
famed for Crusade armour in the Great Crusade era. So you can really sort of stick your own character
I
into
really
your collection.
think the best
Yeah, but
combination
absolutely
is
every legion did have Crusade armor at some point. Some of them were more
It
fond
just-
of it than others and
just
stuck with
looks
it longer.
gross.
But, certainly you can paint them in all the
with
different
the
colours
other
that you can see on the
legions, in my
screen now.
opinion.
Any of those particularly take your fancy, Adam? Any favourites?
Well, this is the problem. Is why I'm having such an issue, right? Is that
Word
basically
bearers,
all Space Marines look great.
Death Guard.
I do like the simplicity. I do like the simplicity of the.
That is a
the Force
shiny
Legion, though.
model.
It's good and robust.
Let us know in the chat, guys, if you've got a favourite from the ones.
Oh,
that
the Word Bearer looks
They
amazing.
all look amazing. That's the point.
Right. While we're talking about Mark II
I feel
armor,
like
we should
it's got to be like
bring
the
your attention
big
to the
chunky
next of the
Marines. You
frames within
can't
the
do
kit.
like Raven Guard.
This
They
is the
are like in my mind
Mark
more
II
slimmed down.
armor
Iron Hands,
Centurion,
absolutely.
who is there we go. Who is the commander you saw essentially in the cinematic trailer
Gotta just
a
have
little
a
while ago.
chunkier look to
This
him.
is a great kit. It makes your Centurion. He has a
Ooh.
combi melter that you saw in action actually, and a power maul. He has a cyber familiar, great banner for all of your Legion heraldry, And quite excitingly, he has a second head option. So if you want to build him as a different option, you can.
And the fact that the head is separate as well means you can obviously interchange that with lots of other
I like the details that I see with the chains and the medallions
as well is fairly
I like that mini. It's solid.
A very nice little centerpiece.
Yeah.
It almost feels like it's too much with the banner on top.
While we're talking
banner
about
or the skull, don't have
things
both.
that are in the kit, I should bring your attention to the Arachne weapon platform. Oh, there you go. I knew I was going to
Here's your weapon platform.
So this is across 2 frames. It's a really substantial kit. There you go. Eddie, do you want to stick the one with the guns in? That's a bit more exciting, isn't it?
So this has got the same weapons that you see on the Sakaran tank.
That's
but
right.
It's got twice as many of them. So if you've ever had to face a Sakaran in games of Horus Heresy, you'll know that they're fairly
look at that bad
almost
boy.
any target. It's a very flexible gun that can just make a mess of pretty much whatever it points at. This has got twice as many of those weapons.
I like that. It looks really neat.
Defensible position somewhere in your battle line and just
not really an enjoyer of
fields of fire.
It has a couple of things going for it. One is the way you can drop it down into battle, and the other is it has an adamantic purveyance. If you're familiar with those, maybe you've used radio dreadnoughts or things in the past. That gives you some really useful defensive benefits, and I can quite imagine
it's a big
of these
turret,
pouring shots into the enemy.
It's a big
bit
boy.
Like in the trailer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, see, you see the minis in the background.
Right. So that is half of what's in the box set in terms of the miniatures. Yeah. So numerically more, but an equal number of the kits. So the other half is what gives the box set its name, which is the Saturnine stuff. And before we show you the Saturnine models, let's show you a little something on what Saturnine actually is.
Saturnine Tactical Dreadnought Armor is the heaviest and most advanced suit of armor in the Imperium. Its origins are shrouded in mystery, but it is known to have originated in the tech enclaves of Saturn. There are records of Saturnine-clad warriors as early as the late Unification Wars and the First Battle of the Great Crusade. Complexities of its production meant that it was soon overshadowed by the more numerous Cataphracti and Tartarus pattern suits.
This is nice. I didn't know this lore.
Saturnine armor was already fading into legend by the dying days of the Great Crusade. That was until the Primarch Vulcan took it upon himself to unlock the secrets of this venerable technology. He was successful, and, ever the loyal son and brother, gifted his findings to all legions. So it was that as heresy erupted across the galaxy, Saturnine technology was turned against the Imperium that it was forged to protect. A warrior in Saturnine plate is a formidable opponent. Though ponderous, they are immune to most enemy attacks, and themselves wield some of the most lethal Legion portable weaponry ever devised. The Saturnine siege dreadnoughts take this durability and destructive potential even further. Those interred are required to be of an especially disciplined mind. But for those that can master it, there are few foes that can stand before their wrath.
Welcome back. That was a good little primer on what Saturnine is, and we got to see, you know, a little bit of what it looks like. Let's delve into the models.
Yeah, here we go. So we'll kick off with the Saturnine Terminators. I've got one of the sprues here. So you get 2 of these sprues in the box. Each one of these will give you 3 Saturnine Terminators, so 6 total across the box. And they have a variety of different weapons. As you heard from the video there, they are very powerful, but very quite rare, I suppose, in armies. So certainly at the time of the Dropsite
Massacre,
the
cracks, it almost looks like magma
reintroduced en masse. So
on the shoulder pads, I really like
the other marks of Terminator armor, but more powerful, more devastating, able to carry better weapons, and more able to resist enemy fire. So a very powerful unit.
Yeah, speaking of those weapons, this kit has 3 sort of main weapon options. As you can see, each Saturnine Terminator has 2 main weapons. So here you can see they have the heavy disintegrators and the disruption fists. The weapon kit also includes plasma bombards, which you can see here. Now, the interesting thing about them, if you look at the one on the right-hand side as you look at the screen, he's got 2 plasma bombards. These can be used on either arm, so you can swap them around. The kit contains 6 Terminators and 18 weapons, 6 of each of the main weapons. So essentially, you could do, for example, 3 with double plasma bombards, or 3 with double heavy disintegrators, or you can put the disruption fists in. The disruption fists are always on the left. I'll leave it to you to work out the best armament.
Why is it always on the left?
Beautiful examples
you said
of alternative paint schemes for different legions.
Oh, it's just because those are the only options for that. They only have a left-hand fist.
Yeah, I mean, so again, you can have these in any of your legions. They look good in almost any color. You've got lots of lovely armor plates there to kind of show off your painting skill. The salamander ones have obviously got that beautiful kind of volcanic look to them. The White Scars one there showing off what you can do with lovely legion heraldry. But yes. Yeah,
and if you're wondering how these are going to fit into your existing army, if you're already a player, Saturnine armor is more durable. The weapons are extremely powerful. They're well protected. They have thermal diffraction fields, and they can fire both weapons thanks to the advanced targeting systems. So when you consider the plasma bombard, which is essentially an indirect fire plasma cannon,
they only look the best for the salamanders. Like every other legion, it just is not nearly as impressive.
So alongside your squads of Saturnine Terminators, you'll obviously need someone to lead them into battle, and the box set has got one of those as well. This is a Praetor in Saturnine Terminator armor,
there you
and
go.
he's absolutely jam-packed with detail, and also quite a lot of options on the sprue as well. You've got choices for how you want to put them together. That is the sort of out-of-the-box Salamander version of him, and you can see he has an absolutely enormous hammer, which is about twice the height of a Space Marine, so you'd imagine
and
that's
his halo.
Yeah, so he's holding the Saturnine Disruption Hammer. The kit contains 2 options for the face plate of the hammer.
And the hammer,
in terms of other options, there are 2 options for the lanyard. There's 2 options for sort of his tabard, 4 options for the head, and here you can see the other major option, which is there's also a Saturnine War Axe. This model in particular, I think, is just one of the most impressive Space Marine miniatures I've ever seen. Whoever painted it and posed it, it's done an amazing job.
You didn't get a name of the person who painted it?
I think these guys are very, very powerful in game as well.
You should, if you like it so much that you're going to say it on the stream,
as well as Space Marines, you also have the demigods of battle walking around. You have like Primarchs and demons and all sorts of things that you might have to come up against. A Praetor in Saturnine Terminator armor is pretty much as tough as you can make a Space Marine get. So in terms of stat line and damage output and things like that, he is approaching the level of some of the Primarchs and that sort of thing.
I don't know about you.
You're going to think twice before you fight him with anybody, aren't you?
But when I'm looking at minis, I'm not looking at the grey.
They look great as a centerpiece.
Just the grey ones by themselves.
If you've decided that you don't want to have a Primarch leading your army,
Iron Warrior
to represent a legion or a chapter that isn't fighting alongside one,
or
if you just want to have another bruiser in your force alongside a Primarch, it's a great thing to add in.
So we should probably go to what, for many people, I think is going to be the centerpiece kit in Saturnine, which is the Saturnine Dreadnought. This comes on a variety of frames. Like we can't possibly get more than at once.
Look at them all.
But this is essentially
he keeps turning him the wrong way.
You've seen up to now.
He does not know how to orient a sprue.
And most powerful dreadnought in the
look at that boy. Oh, he's such a good boy.
It towers above other dreadnoughts. In terms of what it's armed with,
he's better than the box
disintegrator cannons.
And I love the box.
That enormous gun on its left arm, and it has a heavy plasma bombard on its right arm.
Beautiful.
And it can fire both. This is a real heavy-duty war machine. Again, it has that same thermal diffraction field to protect it from injury. It's mounting sort of point defense weapons in its chest armor. This is a real bruiser.
Yeah, a huge amount of firepower in this thing as well. He's
even got the guns underneath his like armpits
that you get in the Horus Heresy.
I appreciate that as well.
More than things like the Leviathan dreadnoughts and some of the big Custodes ones. It is a
I would totally turn this into a Custodes dreadnought.
That you can.
That is a vibe for a Custodian dreadnought, actually.
Approaching the level of some of the knights and things like that.
It's similar enough to the other Custodian.
A great addition to any Space Marine army.
Yeah, in those
don't call them nip guns. Dang it!
It either is 2 photonic incinerators,
now you can't get that out of my head.
It's twin concussion resonators. We'll tell you what those do in articles in the future, but they're a bit like, in effect, flamers. But they each have their own special effects on top, so they use the template.
Okay, I want one of these so I can make it a Custodian. I just want him.
So that is all the miniatures from the Saturnine box set. I think we might have a nice shot of all of them together somewhere to show you how it all looks when it's all laid out together. There you go. There it is, beautiful. So we have painted this box set up in 2 colors. We have the salamanders on one side and the iron.
Okay, like the turret is cool.
We'll let you in on a little secret. If you want to buy this box and paint them all one color, you can absolutely do that. And it actually gives you a really solid start to a Space Marine force. That is a pretty much self-contained, medium-sized Horus Heresy army ready to go straight out of the box.
This is medium-sized.
Perfect. So, with all of the miniatures in Saturnine covered, I think it makes sense for us maybe to see if there's any questions bubbling up in the chat. Let's throw over to question corner with our Lore Master, Alex. What have we got?
There are indeed. There's a lot of excitement.
I love the Sanguinius, by the way.
Saturnine. So just nipping back to the Mark II, do they work with all the other kits, like the heavy weapons, special, melee?
That's a really good question. If we didn't cover it off clearly enough, yes, the special weapons and heavy weapons that are already within the plastic Horus Heresy range are completely compatible with those. I've seen some; they look great. So yeah, you've got a lot of variety.
There's a lot of people liking the veterans with the disintegrators. How many of those come in the box?
So there's 40 Mark II legionaries. You can build them as the veterans with disintegrators, and I think I wouldn't want to bet my life on it, but I think you can make 2 full squads of 10.
No, do it.
You can absolutely do that. You actually,
and you'll have some spares after.
You will end up with some spares, so you can do 2 full squads of 10, and every single person has a disintegrator rifle, but you also have heavy disintegrators that you can add in as well, and things like combi disintegrators. So you have about 28 disintegrator guns that you can put on Mark II
the turret is really powerful.
So,
it just doesn't have the same
who can use Saturnine
visual appeal as a Dreadnought does.
Sculpted Legion-specific iconography on them at all?
So that's a really good question. So any Legion can use any of the stuff in this box. It's almost designed that way, so you can paint it up in whatever colour you like. There are a few of the kits that have certain aesthetic elements on them that look a little bit more traitor or a little bit more loyalist. So if you really want lots of eagles and scroll work,
they're just saying, oh, well, everyone has them now because...
and then there's an option to swap it out for more chains and more kind of eyes of horrors.
Where those parts exist on the kits,
how many hammers? At least one big hammer.
Tailor your force a little bit
maybe
more.
2 hammers.
But very much, this is a box set that any Space Marine Legion army could make full use of. I should also add, just in case the question who can use Saturnine should interpret it differently, one of the great ironies of Vulcan's beautiful gift to all of his brothers was that he sent Saturnine armor to all of the legions.
He's a really generous guy.
And so
really nice.
It's a bit sad that it was
I want your source. Give me your source. I don't believe you.
There's a lot of release-related and rules-related questions.
You're saying that so everyone buys things.
We might have some rules later. Who knows? Who knows?
And the final one, somebody was asking, how does the Arachne compare to the Tarantula? And several people asked, can we have a Leviathan for scale? And I think we do have some things to compare.
We do have some things for scale. So it just so happens that we have some of the models here. So we'll start off with the Arachne Quad Accelerator platform. And I think we'll compare this in size to one of the...
There we go. I was like, yeah, he's big. He's very big.
So that is about the size of it. So it is
the source
certainly
is, we made it up.
Considerably larger than the tarantulas.
Feels a little lazy.
You can see the size of those accelerator cannons are themselves about 3 times as long as a Space Marine each. So you can imagine that when they hit, they can make a mess of pretty much anything. So that is a fairly formidable gun platform there. It's a lot bigger than a tarantula. In terms of how they compare to some of the other things, we also have a Saturnine Terminator. So if you're wondering how
bring
big
it back.
these are
Bring
compared
that
to
thing
standard,
back.
Space Marine Legionary.
Bring the gun platform back. I want a comparison
almost twice the height, actually, by the time you've factored in all of the size of them, and certainly in mass, considerably larger. And we also have how a Saturnine Terminator compares to one of the current Tartarus Terminators there.
So I think to bear in mind when you look at this, obviously, is that it's bigger armour. A lot of that height is in the shoulder armour, where the thermal diffraction fields and the technology that allows it to make teleport strikes exists. But these are towering suits of armour.
They are. I've also got another little heavy disintegrator there. On the
always jolly. Yeah. We should show you how the Praetor compares.
Absolutely, yeah. So the Praetor is a
Stop
very
pulling minis away. I want to see all the comparisons.
Here he is compared to Saturnine Terminator.
Sorry, I'm not really this grouchy. I just want to see more stuff.
One of the things we said earlier on
everything
is
away.
that the Saturnine armor for the Praetors actually allows them to go toe to toe with some of the kind of big hitters of the Horus Heresy, the Primarchs and things.
He's just huge compared to the regular Marines.
Vulcan himself to give you a comparison about how big those Saturnine Terminators are in comparison to something like a Primarch. He is good.
But,
so the Primarch himself, obviously, in terms of stature, is still significantly larger, but you can see that the kind of additional armor plating afforded to the Praetor in that Saturnine plate certainly makes his presence on the battlefield almost as imposing as a Primarch, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Pretty cool. All right. I think we had some questions about the size of the dreadnoughts as well. Can we have a
No, keep them there. Keep them there.
Versus things for scale. So we'll keep Vulcan there just so we can get a sense of size. There he is with one of his finest creations, the Saturnine Dreadnought. There we go. So you can see even a Primarch standing next to one of these things is dwarfed by the size of the Saturnine Dreadnought, absolutely towering over him. We have a few of the other Dreadnoughts to kind of show you scale. Vulcan, thank you so much for showing up, Vulcan. I'll see you later.
Have
a great time in ISTVAAN.
Oh my gosh, it's so small.
We have one of the Legio Custodes Contemptor Dreadnought. So
it's
slightly larger actually than some of the other.
If you're familiar with the Contemptor chassis, it's a decent sized sort of Dreadnought frame. And
I'm
he comes up to about 2/3 the way up the torso. One of the bigger Dreadnoughts, we've referenced it already once this evening.
I want a Saturnine Dreadnought for the Custodes.
And then there was a definite request in the chat.
Leviathan for scale, was it?
Yeah. So, excuse me, Mr. Contemptor.
There he is. So the Leviathan, currently the largest Dreadnought walking on any battlefield in Warhammer. And as you can see, even the Leviathan Dreadnought is a good shoulder plate smaller than...
It's really interesting though, isn't it? You can imagine
which shoulder plate though?
Sort of stomping forward with extra sort of thermal diffraction fields, tanking sort of the heat as they make their charge.
Yeah, Saturnine is
it
like
certainly
a
makes
knight.
an all-Dreadnought Horus Heresy army appealing, right? So like the concept of having the whole mix, or the whole family, the whole gang get together, stomping across the battlefield could look very cool indeed. So there you go. Some scale shots there. I'm sure we'll have some more various scale shots and things up on the
this guy's huge. Look at the
website
bases
in the not too distant future as well.
Like his base is massive.
Perfect. So we've talked a lot about all of the miniatures that come inside Saturnine. We've done a pretty good job, I think, of showing you all of the stuff you get and how it scales. We haven't really talked about the rules yet, so it's probably time for that. Why don't we begin with this little primer about the new rules?
A new edition of Warhammer the Horus Heresy means big changes to the rules of the game. Players will need to adapt to the new realities of war in the Age of Darkness.
Big changes.
For those generals who can master these changes, you will find new tools and abilities that will help you to secure victory. Battles are won and lost by the feet of legendary heroes. There is now a new suite of abilities for your characters to use when locked in a lethal duel with an enemy champion or commander. The rules on assembling your army for battle are more flexible than ever, allowing for thematic and powerful armies, supported by allies of your choice. Killing the foe is not the only way to dominate the battlefield. Representing the debilitating effects of the myriad weapons of the Age of Darkness, new tactical statuses allow you to subdue an enemy army before breaking their spirit and putting them to flight.
I would feel so awkward.
Representing the mental fortitude of your troops, new advanced characteristics represent their ability to follow orders, stay calm under pressure, and fight on in the face of overwhelming odds. Every weapon in the game has been reworked, including the addition of a damage characteristic, as well as many melee weapons offering new bonuses to those skilled enough to wield them. These are just a handful of the new rules in the upcoming new edition of Warhammer the Horus Heresy.
I feel so awkward sitting there trying to
What a fantastic primer on the new rules, and we've taken the liberty of cracking the rulebook out of the Saturnine box.
Yeah, I have been given permission to break the seal on the rulebook that we just opened up from our Saturnine box. So here we go. Let's open it up.
Are you going to do it so you can keep it for now?
No, I've broken it. I just broke the seal. There we go. Right.
Purity seals.
So we have two reference compendiums, one for me, one for you, so we can play a game later. There we go. And inside this, we have the beautiful new Age of Darkness rulebook. It is a hefty tome, clocking in at 352 pages.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have been reliably informed that
more than 100 pages at the start of that book are detailing the lore and the history of the Horus Heresy. So from the events that lead up to the heresy, so through the Great Crusade, and then obviously the things that cause the actual breakout of the heresy. Then you've got an incredible primer on all of the forces that take place within it. So the 18 Space Marine Legions, forces like the Solar Auxilia, the Mechanicum and so on. This is a really brilliant way of dipping your toe into the lore if you never have. If you are an established fan of the Horus Heresy, I've been following it since I was about 10 years old, and there were still new things in there for me to learn. I really enjoyed sort of
Well, yeah, because they made things up.
But there's also rules.
There's also loads of rules. So the back half of this book, obviously, the rules of the new edition of Warhammer the Horus Heresy.
Heard of it
and we certainly haven't got time today to go through absolutely every rule of the new edition, but we do have a few little nuggets that we can share with you, a few things that Josh has already hinted at. So Let's talk about stats.
I don't know anything about
this is the
rules,
stats
so
of a
please don't judge
legionary
me
in the
too
new
hard.
edition of Warhammer: The Horus
I've not
Heresy.
played Heresy.
As you can see, some returning favourites in the stat line: movement, weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, toughness, wounds, initiative, attacks. All the classics are there.
But what is this new stat?
There's a new stat bit section at the bottom.
No.
There is an advanced stats section.
It's going to be complicated now.
Broadly,
even more
deal with
complicated.
the mental capabilities and fortitude of your Space Marines. You will notice that alongside save and invulnerable save at the bottom there are 4 stats. Leadership returns, demonstrating how good your troops are at taking orders and rallying when you tell them to. You have CL, which means cool, which is how well your troops fare under fire.
That's why
and how
I
well
adjusted
they can deal with things like sniper fire and
my
bombardment.
statement. It's
and
already
avoiding pinning
complicated.
And things like that.
Yep.
You have WP.
That's willpower.
It is willpower.
Which is essentially your warrior's mental
iron,
fortitude
like, intuition?
when it comes to things like psychic tests and resisting psychic powers. So think of that as the ability of your character to have a fortress of his mind and either use that offensively or defensively. And then lastly, you have intelligence, which is his ability to do technical actions under duress. So it's the sort of thing you can imagine the servants of the Mechanicum will make great use of, maybe when they're repairing vehicles or each other.
More complicated.
Also using things like communications equipment and that sort of stuff. Anything that's interacting with tech, basically. If you have been around in Warhammer 40,000 for a very long time, and I'm talking Rogue Trader era, you will recognise these stats as being from the very first edition of Warhammer 40,000. But they haven't been included just for nostalgia's sake. They give more nuance to the way the game works and more interactions and more differentiation between the types of unit you can include. So things like chaplains and librarians and tech marines will all vary quite a lot in these stats in terms of what they bring to your army.
For those new stats.
You can see here a legionary is 7 across the board, which means that when you take these tests, for the most part, you're rolling 2d6 and trying to score equal or less than your score, much like you do with current leadership.
Out of 12.
So legionaries are going to pass most of these tests most of the time if they roll on the averages. There will be some things that are much better at taking these tests. So Primarchs, for example, push some of these numbers into double figures. And there are some units which have quite low stats. So things like...
It has to be 12
tech rolls, were the ones that we found earlier on, which have fairly atrocious stats for these. So not very good at resisting psychic powers, but actually very uncaring when their fellow troops get taken out by
pretty good at doing what they're told.
Yeah, they're good at doing what they're told, but not much else. Yeah,
absolutely. And the stats they're used for a thing in the game which is new, which is your tactical status.
That's why.
I grabbed the last frame out of the box. I don't know if you can see this.
It's because their dad is a psycho.
Packed with 40 markers, which they have a mix of things. One, they've got some numbers for objectives, but 2, you've got these sort of symbols here. These relate to a thing called tactical statuses. There you go. That's a much more effective picture for you.
Yeah. So in games of the Horus Heresy in the new edition, there are ways of interacting with your opponent's army that are more than just killing them. They are effectively giving enemy units debuffs or tactical statuses.
Yeah, I always fail.
These are usually caused by them being forced to take and then failing one of those advanced characteristics tests, and there are 4 of them. Pinned means that the enemy unit is pinned down under fire, either something like artillery or sniper fire, and they can't move. Suppressed is that unit is less able to return fire because they are ducking behind cover and trying not to take hits, basically. Stunned means that unit's going to be less able to react to things that happen in the game. And then routed means that you've actually just broken the morale of that unit and it's going to be fleeing. And these have slightly different rules in terms of how they interact with the rest of the game, but they mean that you can interact with your opponent's army in ways that aren't just blow them off the battlefield. Although you absolutely still can just blow them off the battlefield.
Always an option.
Yes,
always an option.
Speaking of firepower, what a lovely segue. We should talk a little bit about the changes that happen to weapons. Weapons have new profiles. Eddie, you're very good at this bit.
Yes, so ranged weapons and melee weapons have both changed, and there are some things that will be very familiar and some things that have changed slightly. So we've got a bolt pistol here and a Saturnine disruption fist. Let's look at the bolt pistol first. It has range. That's how far it can shoot. It can shoot 12 inches. FP stands for firepower. That's how many shots you get. You've got RS for range strength of 4, very familiar to anyone who's ever fired a bolt pistol. The difference between range strength and strength is that some rules will only interact with range strength and some rules will interact with any strength. So
interesting.
There's a slight differentiation there. AP is how good at punching through armor it is, And then a big change to weapons in the new edition is that they now have a damage characteristic. So that's how many wounds you do if you get a shot through. And what that means is you have more differentiation between guns that are very good at killing infantry, light infantry, and guns that are very good at killing heavier stuff, like or do damage to vehicles or taking out terminators and things like that.
Okay.
So things like a bolt gun will be damage 1. Stuff like your las cannons and disintegrators and things like that will have a higher damage characteristic. Looking at the melee weapons, they've also gone through some changes. The big thing to note about melee weapons is that most of the time their stat line will be boosts or buffs to your existing melee stat line rather than being a stat line in its own right. So a Saturnine Disruption Fist, IM stands for Initiative Modifier. So you fight in initiative order in Warhammer the Horus Heresy, and that shows that this weapon is going to swing quite ponderously, but it's going to hit fairly hard. Attack modifier is how many attacks you get. So in this instance, you use your attack.
Just when I'm already studying regular tabletop,
yeah,
now I got to learn another
SM is strength modifier.
Set of rules.
So if you have a Saturnine Disruption Fist, you have +2 to your strength. Saturnine Terminators
are
already pretty strong, so they're going to be hitting pretty hard. And then AP is how good at punching through armor you are, and D is how much damage that does. So just on a read of that, you can see that a Saturnine Disruption Fist is going to pretty much kill anything short of a character in a single hit.
Beautiful. A lot of rules.
It's a lot of rules.
And it's just the sort of the tip of the iceberg in terms of what the studio team responsible for the Horus Heresy game have done. Essentially, they love this game and they poured all of that love into fine-tuning and finessing and adding new and exciting things for you to experience. It's the same game you already know and love if you play the Horus Heresy.
Well, I want to be knowledgeable about the rules so that when we do more of these in the future, I'm like, oh, well, this is a bad decision because of this, and the
things that you
I don't have the know-how just
refer to. The first place you'll find them is in the booklet that comes inside the Saturnine box. I'll show you. It's quite a nice little book. And in it, you'll find all of the quick start rules and profiles and things that you need to use your models in your first games. This is absolutely, there you go, it's full of construction information, but at near the start you've got profiles and things too. This is great for your first games, and you could just play this forever, but if you want to get more out of the Horus Heresy, you're going to need the new Liber books, which are coming out on the same day as the release of the new game. You've seen there's new stats and new weapon profiles.
They're going to cost an arm and a leg.
To handle them, and there will be 5 released on the day that Saturnine comes out. The 2 you can see here, Liber Hereticus and Liber Astartes, deal with the Loyalist and Traitor Legions. These are massive tomes packed with lore and information about the legions, and also all of the stats you need, not just for the warriors, but also for those iconic characters. First captains like Sigismund or Primarchs like Lorgar.
Yeah, hopefully the Saturnine box is not limited. That would really suck.
They are Liber Auxilia, which deals with the armies of the Solar Auxilia, Mechanicum, which deals with the forces of the Tagmata, and then Liber Questoris, which is Knights and Titans, so the Questoris and the Titan Legions. All 5 of those books are super comprehensive. They're fantastic volumes, and they launch on the same day as Saturnine. I can almost imagine in chat right now they're saying, but what about the Talons of the Emperor? Fear not. On the day of launch, we'll be releasing a downloadable PDF which has all the rules you need to use your force until your own Liber book is released. Yeah.
There's a little bit of a wait for the Talons of the Emperor Liber book, but it will be well worth it.
Absolutely. Wow. Right. Good. Okay. So, now, what I would say is we've covered all the models. We've covered all of the the rules interest. We'd like to talk a little bit about the lore. Perhaps you've been sat there in the chat and you're like, what is this Horus Heresy and how do I get into it? How do I enjoy this enormous decade-spanning series?
A lot of money.
Our lore master prepared a little message to explain how.
So, you've heard of the Horus Heresy. It's the foundation myth of the Warhammer 40,000 universe, an epic saga of events so cataclysmic they shook the galaxy to its very core. With more than 35 years of real-world history behind the setting, including 2 best-selling novel series totaling 64 books, a tabletop miniatures game and more, it could feel overwhelming. Good news is, it's actually pretty straightforward. And to prove it, here are 3 surefire ways to get started. The first way is the simplest by far. Packed within the new Warhammer the Horus Heresy Saturnine box game is the Age of Darkness rulebook. This honking great tome isn't just a rulebook, though. It's also a fantastic primer for the events of the Horus Heresy. It's loaded with artwork and lore, explaining the build-up to the heresy, introducing the Legiones Astartes and the other main players, and even has detailed timelines of key events.
What's with this?
But what if you really want the story? You know, all those novels everyone keeps banging on about. Well, If that's your chosen route, you're in for a treat. Just pick up the Horus Heresy Book 1, Horus Rising. First up, it's a genuinely excellent novel and sets up all of the events that follow. Want a brief, spoiler-free summary? By the order of the Emperor, Horus has been acclaimed the War Master. Everyone loves Horus. It's all gonna go great. But wait, what if you're just completely time-starved and need another option? We've got you covered. The entire Horus Heresy series is available on audiobook, meaning no matter what's keeping you busy, you can get caught up. Walking the dog, do it while Horus purges the legions of Imperial loyalists. Travelling to and from work or school, it'll sound better to the narrated events of the Dropsite Massacre. Frantically painting models for your new Warhammer the Horus Heresy army. You get the idea. So there you have it, 3 great ways to start exploring the story of the Horus Heresy. The only question is, how are you going to catch up?
That was a great little lore primer. I have to confess that the audiobooks in particular are a favourite of mine. I've listened to the entire of the Siege of Terror series, and usually when I was walking my dog, so there are entire sequences that I can visualise where I was with my dog at the time that, you know...
Dude, I'm like that too.
Person died. No spoilers from me.
I'm like that too.
While we're talking about lore and things that are interesting, also coming out alongside Saturnine is an amazing new map produced by the Warhammer studio. This is the Carta Galactica, the Imperium of Mankind at the time of the Horus Heresy. So
I wish I could get a better look at that.
This is post-Great Crusade. You can see some of the more troubles and things that are taking place in the galaxy have begun. You can almost imagine Horus, is he like using his own equivalent of this?
Yeah, he's got one just like this up on his wall. He's planning his global conquest. The Emperor's probably got one hung up somewhere.
Probably.
That hung over his bed.
Lots of scribbles on it.
Yeah.
Well, he plots.
This is an enormous fold-out map, really beautiful and just the perfect thing for your collection and for, you know, putting on your wall if that's your jam. There's also coming soon this fantastic new volume, which is Journal Tactica, the Dropsite Massacre Part 1. This is our first of the Journal Tacticas that we'll be releasing for the Horus Heresy game, and it is rammed full of great content. So it's got lore, it's got scenario rules and ways to play to recreate some of those famous events, as you can see here. Like loads of great stuff for you to add some variety and interest to your games. And the thing that I'm really excited about this is we get to put a microscope over one of the most impactful events in probably the Imperium's entire history, right? This was the first decisive blow of the heresy and really changed the fate of the galaxy. And the studio team are exploring it in beautiful detail.
Yeah, I think one of the things about the Horus Heresy is that you do get to visit these amazing moments, especially if you've kind of come to it.
I'm sorry, we're going to call this moment amazing?
Like, man, that battle sounds really cool.
That sounds some like traitor stuff right there. That's traitor.
There's a lot of the kind of
traitors talking. From some amazing really, moment ISTVAAN. What the heck, dude? You mean tragedy?
Yeah, it's just a really lovely book if you
bought the traitor.
If you're narrative minded and you kind of love playing campaigns and things like this. And the Horus Heresy is great for that. This is an awesome book for it.
Perfect. So we've still got some things to show you that perhaps you haven't seen. And one of the things that I'm excited to show you, this is probably my favourite thing of the entire preview. But following hot on the heels of the release of Saturnine is a really impressive new kit. Perhaps we can roll the footage for that now.
Oh, that is nice. Oh, look at him. What? Are we doing an intermission? What the hell? Really? I'm sorry, I don't need to be this annoyed. That seems a little silly.
This is unquestionably my thing that I'm most excited about. I have loved the Legion Fellblade since I first saw one way back when Forge World first released one in beautiful
Must have been like technical difficulty.
This is an all-new multi-part plastic version of that same glorious Space Marine Legion super heavy tank, and I could not be more excited.
He looks
Here we go. The real thing is like 300 tons of armored fury, powered by an enormous Atlantic reactor.
Looks great.
This thing is rocking 2 accelerator cannons. You can rip a Titan's guts out with those things.
I need to talk to the
weapon mounts that you can see on it. So it's got the demolisher cannon mounted in the front.
I need to talk to the High Lord.
Those heavy
I need
bolters in
a
the front can be
Fellblade
swapped
for
out.
personal reasons.
It's got you can see here some of the options, right? So you can swap out the heavy bolters on the sides for las cannons. You've got a heavy flamer option for the front. This thing is just a battleship with tracks, armored fury incarnate, and I could not be more excited. I want one now.
I mean, you can't have one right now, Adam, but you can have one fairly soon.
So close to it is
you
the
can have one fairly soon. Here it is. It is. You get a sense of just how big this thing is. But just to give you even more of a sense of it, we have brought along its little brother.
Friend.
Look at this, trundling on.
I want a Baneblade. Compare with the Baneblade,
and you get a sense of just how big the Legion Fellblade is compared to what is a fairly typical sized tank in games of Horus Heresy. And if I lift it up slightly, you'll notice that the Predator is ever so slightly shorter than the entire length of the cannon on this.
Talk about firepower.
You can imagine
I want to see the Saturnine Dreadnought
like
next
a pack
to it.
of smaller Space Marine tanks around. Obviously, it shares the sort of similar silhouette and design styles, obviously from the same STC source, but it is an order of magnitude more impressive in terms of its firepower and its just sheer mass, isn't it?
Yeah, I am just giddy about this. A bit too excited, maybe, but in all of the best ways. Such a great looking kit, and I can't wait to get my hands on one.
Loads of really lovely big areas on there as well to put your heraldry on. So
will we be getting this tank in golden marble too? Maybe.
The Iron Warriors colours coming through really nicely there. If you are a painter and you want a model to show off your painting skills on, this is a nice one to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just give a nod to transfers. Saturnine, I put the transfer sheet somewhere else, but Saturnine has a transfer sheet in it with 1,172 individual transfers on. Some of them are very, very tiny. Some of them are like big enough to be decorating your Saturnine Dreadnought.
Some of them are like knee pad squad markings.
Yeah, absolutely. So, there we go.
There we go.
Coming in stage left.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So I always get a bit overexcited about transfer sheets because I can't do freehand to save my life. So this is where it's at if you're looking to detail your models.
Oh wow, yeah, you can't see half of them because they're white.
These focus very heavily on the Iron Warriors and the Salamanders Legions. Wow. But even if they're not your jam, there's so many other useful markings on it, like tactical and veteran and whatever, that you're going to have a good time.
There's some quite useful markings for any Legion there. You've got like squad markings and
100%.
Tactical and elite and that sort of thing.
So we're still not done yet. There are still new and exciting things for us to show and share with you. But before we do that, let's jump across back to Question Corner with our Lore Master and see if there's any questions we need to address.
There are indeed. There's a lot of people asking very specific questions like army building, about specific rules like instant death balances. You guys are going to have an awful lot of articles going up on Warcom soon, aren't you?
He is quite.
Yes, so there are obviously quite a lot of rules changes across the new edition. We aren't going to be able to cover all of them here. What we can say is that we will cover lots of the rules changes in articles on the Warhammer community website over the coming weeks. So keep your eyes posted there, and there'll be all the nuance of how all these different changes are going to affect your games.
There's a lot of people asking, is the box going to be a range item?
So yes, it is. So there will be...
Range items, fancy words for, will I be able to buy it for a long time, right? And the answer is yes. It's going to be a permanent item of the Warhammer range. It will sit in the web store and hopefully in your local hobby stores and Games Workshop, Warhammer shops. You showed my age there, didn't you?
I wish I could get the Dreadnought separate because I don't want a whole Horus Heresy army.
I think in particular the Terminators and the Dreadnought.
I knew base sizes was coming and I was ready for it 10 or 15 minutes ago. There's loads of bases in the box. The Dreadnought comes on a 100mm base. I think the Terminators are on 60s. They might be on 50s. I'll try and confirm it for you later, but I wouldn't want to bet my life on it right now.
50s.
Are they 50s? There we go.
When is it coming out?
We don't have a release date we can share with you today, but we wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't quite soon.
Yeah, that's fair.
And just to be clear, everything is going to be available at launch that we've shown off today, except for that Fellblade.
Everything so far.
What?
Except that Fellblade.
Give me my big boy tank.
Exciting. Right. Okay. Thank you for those questions. Next, we're going to show you some new miniatures, but before we do, we would like to show you a teaser of something you'll have never ever seen before. This is a clip.
Are you sure about that?
Like a preview.
Exclusive extra.
Exclusive extra. That'll do.
You never know about
from
those
the
leaks.
upcoming Kill Lupercal animation that comes out next week.
That's true.
those guys were getting crushed for sure.
Taking ground fire, my princeps.
Voids to full!
Diverting power. Voids at full radiance. Limited feet from the targeters, my princeps.
I have it.
These look so cool.
Ground targets identified. The traitor 16th, my princeps. Sons of Horus.
Traitor bastards.
Composing target solutions.
No need. Autoloaders.
Priming, princeps.
Brace!
Yes! Get them! Oh, I love the horns on the...
That was awesome. She might have the best job in the Imperium.
It's
Eddie,
up there, isn't it?
It's really good.
Princeps.
Eddie, what can you tell us
It
about
is a
Kill
pretty
Lupercal?
cool job, that's for sure.
Lupercal. That is the very first Horus Heresy animation on its way for Warhammer TV for Warhammer Plus subscribers, and that will be available to watch next week, the first episode.
Nice. Yeah, and the plot is set during the Siege of Terror on Terror itself.
That's right, yeah. So in the closing hours of the greatest battle in human history, as the last loyal Titans march out into the field to try and claim some semblance of victory from a hopeless siege.
Sounds awesome. Perfect.
Oh.
Right.
Red Tail Wolf, thank you for the 25 gifted subs. Thank you, my dude.
Close out the show with. And so what we've got is a little bit of a preview of things that are yet to come.
Thank you so much.
We do have a need to apply a little bit of caution here. These things are a few months out after the other side of Saturnine. So we'll show you on the proviso that you don't harass the social media team too hard.
Yeah, that's the deal, right? So we'll show you the stuff a little bit earlier than we might normally, but you're not allowed to pester the social media team every day about when they're going to come out. That's the deal. And if you're not okay with that deal, you can start watching.
Okay.
Yeah,
But if you do want to see some cool heresy stuff, then
Can
stay
you
tuned.
clarify what you
Well,
mean?
in that case, we should start with some things that maybe people who've guessed are coming based on a couple of previews on Warcom with the Tarantula turret.
Yes, so this is the Legion Tarantula. This is an automated weapon platform that the Space Marine Legions can drop in from
He's
orbit
cute.
alongside things like drop pods.
He's
and
real
other,
cute. I like him.
orbital attack
And the awesome new
things.
Arachne.
And the awesome new Arachne, yeah, it's the little brother
Sorry, gotta run.
of the
Gotta go to
Arachne
work.
quad
Thank you
accelerator
so
platform
much.
that comes in the
I hope
Saturnine
work
box.
goes well.
So if you did pick up a Saturnine box, you can supplement it with a few of these. It comes with a variety of lethal weapons. Some classics return, including your las cannons and heavy bolter options.
See, look at
You've
the
also
heavy
got a
bolter
Snazzy
one. That's
Volkite
adorable. Look
option
at that.
And a melter option in case you want to drop in and melt some tanks.
The Volkite does look really
The
good.
Volkite is the best one, I think. I mean, obviously, they're all great, but my favourite's the Volkite. It's clearly the best.
Aesthetically hard to beat. It's not the only new thing that we're able to sort of hint at. Here we have the rapier batteries.
Yeah, so there's a variety of different
that's...
guns
I'm
you can
sorry.
fit out your rapier batteries
I'm
with,
just a
and
girl,
there are
but that's
2 kits on the way.
adorable. Oh my
One of the
gosh.
kits, gives you graviton
Look at them.
and quad heavy bolter options.
Nice.
The quad heavy bolter, I think, just looks phenomenally
Imagine
cool.
that rolling down the corridor of a Mortalis zone and
Yeah.
just
Look at
absolutely
them.
hosing
Imagine
it.
you're
Oh my
trying to
goodness.
defend a Zone Mortalis and one of those like rounds the
one.
corner, and you're like,
Yeah.
I picked the wrong corridor. Yes, but those are the 2 of the ways you can build it. The crew that come with it are
There's the
particularly
tech
cool. They've got
marines.
lots of really nice little touches, including things like scanners and tech and
There's
targeters and stuff.
almost some Tech Marine vibes on these guys.
Yeah,
isn't
and
there?
some of the
Those
helmets are a
helmets.
little bit Tech Marine, aren't they? So certainly morphed into Tech Marines by the time they've gone through a few STCs and millennia on the way
love
to
it. They
Warhammer
look really great.
40,000. A couple of other ways these can be built as well. There's 2 kits on the way,
More.
depending on how you want to equip them. This one comes with a quad launcher or a laser destroyer. So basically,
My favourite.
whatever
Okay,
you want to
I
shoot
love
at
these
is
baby
probably
tanks.
a
I just
Legion
want one
Rapier
on my
that can help
desk.
you do it.
I just want one for my
the
desk.
Rapier Laser Destroyer has like a long and
That
short
is
history of
so
just
cute.
blasting armor to pieces. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Now they also have a group of Space Marines who control them. There you are, lovely and beautiful. But I'm ready to go to the next thing, which is a Mark II Legion Assault Marine. I've been very excited about this since they first showed it to me earlier on today.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's great.
He
I
looks
love
like
that.
he means business, doesn't he? So it's not just a Space Marine with a jump pack. They've made some other modifications as well.
Clearly.
You can see that his armor's sort of beefed up a little bit. The jump pack is absolutely
Dude, he looks sick. I
enormous.
love
It looks
him.
like like a jetpack lifting that kind of ton of Space Marine right into the middle of the enemy fortress.
My prayers have been answered.
It's huge. You can, it's like the size of a man, right? So you can imagine that coming down and just ripping.
No, he's the size
into compliance
of a Space Marine.
Say,
He's not the size of.
You into the Imperium. Would you like to comply? My chain axe.
He might have just been talking about a piece
would.
of the armor.
You definitely join, right?
Compliance
So these are on the way, a little way off, but they give you another way to put assault troops into your force.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like this. I want to see more of him instead of this one static image. Like, please spin him.
Armor pattern.
Sure.
Yeah, the axe is the size of a man. I misunderstood, but I was like,
one of the most exciting things you're going to see today. I imagine the chat has just gone wild. Everybody loves the Space Marine Legion breachers, and they are coming in plastic. This is a Mark III Legion breacher. He's got that iconic
he looks
shield.
Great too.
He's got a bolter with a drum mag because reloading is hard when you're holding a shield, and just that brutalist look that comes with the iron armor. I love it. I'm very excited.
Yeah, they look great. I think it's an upgrade as well, so you can potentially mix with different armor marks, but there is something about the mark.
So I use breachers in my current Dark Angels army, and they are great. They are brilliant for locking down areas of mortality zones or for just dying slowly on objectives.
I think that they always look so cool because they've got that huge piece of heraldry on the front, so you can just paint them and make them look amazing. And even just like, if you just put a splash of colour across it and a transfer, they look immediately cool.
That's
right?
all I've done, and mine look good. This one is beautiful, obviously, with the incredible studio paint job. Now, it's mostly Space Marines. Oh, we did that before. Here we go. This is a Space Marine still.
Yeah, there's more Space Marines on the way. We're only going to show a little bit of this guy, but is a Volkite gun. Obviously, bolters and disintegrators are great, but Volkite is another one of the staples of the Horus Heresy. But who is carrying this one? We're not going to tell you who it is, but feel free to speculate away. This is another Space Marine plastic on the way.
Interesting.
Beautiful. Now, as I said, it's not just Space Marines in the Horus Heresy, even though it's mostly Space Marines. Here's a look at something that's coming from the Forge Worlds, maybe Mars.
There we go. So, yes, this is a Mechanicum thingy of some sort. Not going to show you the whole model, but just in case you thought we'd forgotten about the troops of Mars.
Not great at identifying things just yet.
Absolutely. A little tease of something yet to come. And speaking of teasers yet to come, and so that the talons of the Emperor fans are not left out, behold, this is a beautiful Guardian spear for an Adeptus, a Legio, I beg your pardon, Custodes model. It's a new model, it's a plastic model, and that's all we're going to tell you.
That's true.
I'm quite excited though.
I have some guesses.
Players to get their.
I saw that the spear looks real cool.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is everything.
It's a Guardian machete.
We have shown you all of our things.
I noticed that right away. I was like, Mike, that's a Guardian spear.
And, we hope you've had a nice time.
Most importantly, Adam, have you picked your Legion?
That is a good question. If I'm honest, my T-shirt and my hazard stripe on my laptop are probably an indicator that my mind was at least partially made up. I believe I'm going to go for the 4th Legion and start some Iron Warriors.
They are kind of cool.
The things that are coming out, you know, that sort of heavy armor, the breaches, all of those things. I think it'd be a good time.
Let us know in the chat if you have picked a Legion for your for the new edition of the Horus Heresy and what colour you'll be painting your Saturn box set.
So, when this stream is done, if you are thirsty for more Warhammer entertainment, do not necessarily just leave. We'll be throwing the stream back to our colleagues over in the US who are currently at the Warhammer Open Dallas. There's going to be some incredible content
like
there,
golf.
including masterclass
I saw a little bit
from
before.
Golden Demon winning painters. So if you want to see how experts do it and sort of keep up the Warhammer action, then you'd be very welcome to hang around and stay. If you want to see anything again that you've seen here on the stream, well, you can just replay the stream.
I knew they were going to say that.
WarhammerCommunity.com. That's where all of the articles about all of these things will be. So you can watch the videos back. You can get a reminder of all the things that we've said. You can watch that amazing new cinematic trailer all over again. And we'll be updating that website with new articles over the coming
Horus
weeks.
is the kind of Primarch to play golf.
You can also engage with us on our socials. We've got Facebook and Instagram, and all of the videos will live on YouTube as well. So there is a great chance to go and relive all of this stuff, see your favourite things, get a close-up look at those pictures if we move them too fast, and really fill your boots. But for now, what remains for us to do is to thank everybody out there, all of you who have come and joined our stream, for spending some time with us, and hopefully you're as excited about the new Horus Heresy Edition and Saturnine as we are. Thanks to Alex over in Question Corner, who has done a wonderful job of keeping us in line and answering your questions. Thank you, Eddie.
That's quite all right, Adam. I would have just been talking about Warhammer on my own if you hadn't come.
Exactly so. So we will leave you with one more look at that cinematic trailer. But for now, thank you, everyone. Good night.
We'll watch the trailer. Call it good.
was there when he painted this. An oddity among his schematics and calculations. Yet, they seemed to help him. A way he could express the enormity of his plan. Not if the legions are successful. It depends on how deep the rot goes.
I love these animations. I didn't notice the skull exploded in the first shot. Yeah, we saw this, but I'm gonna watch it again. Because I was just kind of taking it all in last time. I wasn't really looking at details. Yeah, they definitely make it look like the Iron Warriors are losing this fight. Dreadnought boy. I still love this Dreadnought. I want a Custodes version.
The attack failed.
How many?
Half of the legions now stand.
I like how Malcador's aura, he's just like, I've always got flames on my staff.
In the end, I suppose not. Do you wonder if they might be right? Many will sympathize.
Now imagine, I'm about the same size as Malcador is, approximately. Spear. Maybe a little taller.
What I think doesn't matter.
What now, then?
We make ready for a war that may never end.
I could get a Telemon, but like I would just, I don't know. I like the Saturnine one. I think it's cool. But just But yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, there's some minis I definitely want to get. I don't know if I want to spend a ton of money on a whole army I don't need. Who's the old man? Malcador. Malcador the Sigilite, or if you're based, Malcador the Hero. Highly recommend reading The End and the Death. Malcador is just, oh, that man, he's the best. He's great. Thanks for the 12 months of support, too, right? And then there's over 150 megabyte image version of the Horus Heresy map from 2 years ago. Ooh, yes, please put that in the Discord. Thank you, Shadow. Yeah, he's the best bro. Best bro. I wish there were more Sisters of Silence. GW needs to make more models. Okay, so they did hint at that with that Custodian Spear. They could potentially be making another set of Sisters of Silence. But I don't think it's impossible now, since they hinted for Custodes. Malcador is sus. Mods, get him. Get him, mods. Malcador is not sus. Get him, mods. Send him to Detroit. But I think it's possible. Yeah, Malcador is the least sus. Yeah. Shh. He's not sus. That's treason. You cannot speak. of the Sigillite in that manner. Illegal. Not allowed. You cannot. Not. But I am, the minis look really nice. The Fellblade looks good. There's a lot of things I'd like to get. Trying to think about all my thoughts here. No, I think there's just a lot of good stuff to look forward to. Yeah, in this house, Malkador is a hero, okay? Sorry for the yawn. But what did you guys think? What did you guys think of all the reveals? Anything that you really are excited about? Like, what's your favorite thing that they revealed? I need to investigate the rules and compare second 2.0 to 3.0 Heresy. The Dread Boy is nice. Yeah, I like the Dread Boy. I'm excited for new Custodes mods. We haven't even seen them yet. We just saw the spear. The mini tanks. Yeah, okay. I have a list. I think honestly, Heresy players eating good. Eating real good. I have a massive need for the Fellblade look. Me too. I honestly, even though I know they were comparing Space Marine tanks, I would have loved to see a Baneblade next to the Fellblade. Because I'm just curious about the size. I imagine they're similar with the Fellblade being a little bigger. But, And I hope the rules aren't too... You don't understand, we haven't got new Custodes models since the burning of the first edition Heresy. Oh. I don't know much. Anyways, guys, I have to go, which is no longer my lunch break, and I must away. I will catch you all later. Please do leg day. We are doing tabletop tomorrow, Blood Angels versus World Eaters, so please come at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and it'll be an awesome showdown. Gotta go, guys, but I will catch you later. All right? Do your leg day. Bye!